So this note is on first differences. So get my pen. And so the definition of first differences, okay? So they are the difference between consecutive y values in a table of values with evenly spaced x values, and evenly spaced is key. Okay? So the difference between consecutive y values, so consecutive means in a row, like 1, 2, 3, or 2, 4, 6, okay? So consecutive y values in a table of values with evenly spaced x values. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So an example, it says graph each given relation to determine if it's linear or nonlinear relation. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to give you these x values. So I'm going to go 0, 1, 2, 3. We'll add in one more column, okay? And then I'm going to give you these coordinates, 7, 3, -1, -5, -9. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to add in the first differences column. Okay, so to do the first differences, we look at the 7 and the 3, and to go from 7 to 3, we had to take away 4. Okay, and I'll just go. To go from 7 to 3, we had to take away 4. Okay, now to go from 3 to -1. Okay, so if you were to think of a number line, to go from 3 to -1, we had to go down by 4. To go from -1 to -5, we had to go down by 4. So what do we notice about all these? Oh, sorry, one more. -5 to -9, you went down by 4. Okay, so these are constant first differences. Okay? Next one, I'm going to give you the numbers. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay? And then I'm going to give you these numbers. -3, -1, 3, 9, 17. Okay, so to go from -3 to -1, we had to add 2. To go from -1 to +3, we had to add 4. To go from 3 to 9, we had to add 6. To go from 9 to 17, we had to add 8. So if we look at these, okay, once again, I'll just do short form, first differences. So when I look at these, 2, 4, 6, 8, it's not like the first column where they were consistent. Okay? These are all different, so it's not consistent. So, not consistent. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is just show you what these look like on a graph and what these look like on a graph. And then we can see which one is a straight line and which one is not. So, I'm going to fill in the graph. This graph right here, I'm going to base it on these values. So when x is 0, y is 7. Okay? So this is my x, this is my y. So when x is 0, y is 7. So I'm going to go up here, put a dot. Next one, when x is 1, y is 3. X is 1, y is 3. Put a dot. Next, x is 2, y is negative 1. So x is 2, y is negative 1. Okay, and the next one was 3 and negative 5. And then 4 and negative 9. Okay, so if I were to join these with a ruler, remember I'm trying as best as I can to go as straight as I can. It's not easy. Okay, that one's not too bad. Okay, so if I look at this, is it linear or nonlinear? Well, linear means a straight line. Nonlinear means some kind of curve. Okay, so we're going to go with this relation is linear. Okay, and when we looked at the linear, the first differences were all the same. Okay, straight line, first difference is all the same. Now we're going to map out the second one. So our y-axis and our x-axis. Okay, so the first point here, x is 0, y is negative 3. X is 0, y is negative 3. Put a dot. Next, we have x is 2, y is minus 1. So x is 2, y is minus 1. Put a dot. Next one, x is 4, y is 3. X is 4, y is 3. Put a dot. X is 6, y is 9. X is 6, y is 9. Put a dot. Last one, 8 and 17. X is 8, y 7. It's going to be way out of our whole thing, so it's kind of hard to graph that one, so we'll just do the ones that we have. So, if you notice here, okay, that arrow is just to continue, okay? So it just keeps going. So this one is not a straight line, okay? So this one would be nonlinear, okay? And also, if we look at its chart, its first differences are not constant or not consistent, okay? So if they're not consistent or constant, that means it is non-linear, okay? Non-linear. So this part, it says apart from graphing, we can determine whether a relation is linear or nonlinear by examining the first differences. So that's what we just did. Determine the first differences of each of the above relations, and what do you notice? Okay? So we already talked about it. So the first differences, if it's a straight line, it's constant. Okay? First differences, straight line, constant. Second one, first differences, not constant or not consistent, and it's not a line. So let's fill this in. So if I'm going to put FD for first differences. So if the first differences are constant, the relation is linear. Okay, so that means straight line. If the first differences are not constant, okay, not constant, the relation is non-linear. linear. And that's when you would have a curve. Okay? Okay, next page. Example 2. It says use a table of values and first differences, so that's what we just did, to determine whether relationship is linear or nonlinear. So the first one, I'm going to give you the numbers. Okay, so I'm going to do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So we're going to take this equation and just sub it in right here. So 2x minus 1. So wherever we have our x, we're going to sub in whatever we have for that line. Okay? So the first one is going to be 2 times -2. And then subtract 1. So in your calculator, 2 times -2 equals -4. Take away another 1, you end up with -5. The second one, we have 2 times -1 and then subtract 1. Okay, so in your calculator, you can do 2 times -1 equals -2. Take away another 1 equals -3. So -3. Next one, it's 2 times 0 minus 1. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is -1. Next, 2 times 1 minus 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is +1. And the last one, 2 times 2 minus 1. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in the first differences column. Okay? And we're going to look. So to go from -5 to -3, we had to add 2. To go from -3 to -1, we had to add 2. To go from -1 to +1, we had to add 2. To go from 1 to 3, you have to add 2. So what do we notice about all of these? Okay? They are consistent. They're constant. So therefore, this one would be a linear relation. So down here, the first differences are constant. Therefore, the relation is linear. Okay, let's do our last example. So this one right here, y equals x squared. So I'm going to fill in here, y equals x squared, and I'm going to give you the numbers we're going to use. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So same thing here. Where x is going to be -2, and it's squared. So that means -2 times -2. So in your calculator, remember this isn't a very good one, so I have to do it the long way. -2 times -2 gives us +4. The next one, -1 squared, which means -1 times -1 gives us +1. Next one, 0 squared gives us 0. 1 squared, 1 times 1 gives us 1. And last one, 2 squared, 2 times 2 gives us 4. So let's put in our first differences. Okay, so we're running out of time, so just making it fast. So first differences. From 4 to 1 is -3. 1 to 0 is -1. To go from 0 to 1 is +1. 1 to 4 is 3. So because the first differences are not constant, The relation is non-linear.